Shalom, YouTube. God bless. Remember the law of Moses. Stick to the law of Moses. Cling to the law of Moses, because the best form of worship is obedience to God. Wash yourselves in the blood of Christ. Cling to the law of Moses and share this with others. Muslims like to say that there's no references to the Son of God in the Gospels, that Jesus never refers to himself as the Son of God, which is patently false. The word for Son of God in Greek is huios tou theou. HUIOSTOUTHEOU. Now, huios is spelled with and without the H on this website. So this is only the list of the ones with the H. Starting with Matthew 4, verse 3. You are the Son of God. We get to 4:6. To him, if you are the Son of God. Here, let me read it to you in the context with my King James Bible. 4, verse 3. When the tempter came to him, he said, if you are the Son of God, command these stones to be made bread. Verse 6. If you be the Son of God, cast yourself down, for it is written, he will give his angels charge concerning you, and in their hand they shall bear you up. And then we get to verse 5, chapter 5, verse 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. So Jesus is saying he is the Son of God, and we will become children of God. That's a pretty good deal. That's a very good deal. I'd make that deal. Would you make that deal? Damn straight. All right. Verse 8:29. And behold, they cried out, saying, what have we to do with you, Jesus, you Son of God? Are you come here to torment us before the time? Then we get to 14:33. So remember, in the Greek it says Son of God. So we go to the Greek Bible for the New Testament, and we go to the Hebrew Bible for the Old. 14:33. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped, saying, of a truth you are the Son of God. That was 14:33, right? Yeah, okay. And then we get to 16:16. So Jesus is asking, who do you say that I am? And Simon Peter answered and said, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. 26:63. So these are other people calling him the Son of God, but it's still relevant. But Jesus held his peace, and the high priest answered and said unto him, I command you by the living God that you tell us whether you are the Christ, the Son of God. So this is when he's about to be crucified. So remember, the Pharisees at this point had rejected that the Messiah was divine, even though it's very clear in the Tanakh, in the Torah, in the prophets, in the Hebrew Bible. It's very clear that the Messiah is God. It is Yahweh Sabaoth, Lord of hosts. It is the angel of the Lord, the Malach of Yahweh. That's, basically the messenger of God. Yes, God the Father is greater than the Son, but the Son is every bit as divine as the Father. And 27:40. And they're mocking him. They're saying, you that would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you be the Son of God, come down from the cross. And then 27:43. He trusted in God, let him deliver him now, if he will have him, for he said, I am the Son of God. That thing about he trusted in God, let him save him, that's a quote from Psalms chapter 22. That's very interesting. And then 27:54. Now when the centurion and they that were with him watching Jesus saw the earthquake and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, truly this was the Son of God. So that's Matthew. Let's get to Mark. So it starts off the beginning, Mark 1:1, the beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. 3:11. And unclean spirits, when they saw him, fell down before him and cried out, you are the Son of God. 15:39. And when the centurion which stood over against him saw that he so cried out and gave up the spirit, he said, truly this man was the Son of God. All right, let's get to Luke. Luke 1, I think that's at 35. Yeah. And the angel answered and said to her, the Holy Ghost shall come upon you, and the power of the highest will overshadow you. Therefore also that holy thing which will be born of you shall be called the Son of God. 3:38. Which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. 4 verse 3. And the devil said unto him, If you are the son of God, command the stone that it be made bread. 4:9. And he brought him to Jerusalem and set him on a pinnacle of the temple and said unto him, If you be the son of God, cast yourself down from here. 4:41. And the devils also came out of many, crying out, saying, You are the Christ, the Son of God. And he rebuked them, suffering them that they should not speak, for they knew he was Christ. 8:28. And when he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell down before him, and with a loud voice said, What do I have to do with you, Jesus, you Son of God Most High? I beseech you, torment me not. 20:36. Neither can they die anymore, for they are equal unto the angels and are the children of God, being the children of the resurrection. So Jesus is saying Jesus is the Son of God, and we will be sons of God as well. That's a pretty good deal. All we have to do is keep our end of the covenant. Keep the law of Moses, if you love me, keep my commandments, as Jesus said, and have the blood of Christ. He's not asking very much, and the reward we will gain is, all these Luciferians, how the Luciferians wish they could become gods. Well, if Jesus is God and he's the Son of God and we become children of God, doesn't that make us kind of God too? Obviously, we're going to be inferior to Jesus because he's our king and he's, the first begotten of the Father, but it's still a very high position. To be children of God is incredible. And that's what's been prepared for us. That's what the Illuminati doesn't want for us. That's what Satan is. That's why Satan is so jealous of humanity. Okay, so 20:36. I already read that. They are equal unto the angels. They are the children of God. Then we get to 22 verse 70. Luke 22 verse 70. And they all then said they all, Are you the Son of God? And he said unto them, You say that I am. And I'm going to go to the next verse. And they said, What other need do we have of witnesses? We have witnessed ourselves his own blasphemy with his own mouth. Okay, so let's get to John 1:12. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. So we will become the sons of God. Very nice. Verse 34, John chapter 1:34. And I saw it and bear record that this is the Son of God. So this is John the Baptist speaking. 1:49. Nathanael answered and said unto him, Rabbi, you are the Son of God, you are the King of Israel. 3:18. He that believes on him is not condemned, but he that believes not is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And later on in chapter 3, so he's speaking to Nicodemus, a Pharisee. Nicodemus comes to Jesus in the middle of the night, probably because he's ashamed to be seen publicly with Jesus because the Pharisees were so heretical. But he was a good Pharisee. Nicodemus is most likely in heaven. And Jesus ends up telling him, so this verse 18, it's not supposed to say, it's supposed to say obey, not believe, because he believes not in the name of God, in the name of the only begotten Son of God. It's supposed to say obey not. So, a few mistranslations in the King James Bible, but that's why I say you gotta study the Hebrew, you gotta study the Greek. Ideally, everybody should be able to read Hebrew for the Old Testament and Greek for the New. Ideally. So, one more time. John chapter 3, verse 18. So this is Jesus speaking. I'm just going to quote the King James, even though it's partially incorrect. He that believes on him is not condemned, but he that believes not is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. Then we get to 5:25. Verily, verily, I say to you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they that hear shall live. So what Jesus is saying is that the people in hell, in Abraham's bosom, they will hear the voice of God's Son, and they will live. They will rise from hell. Everybody since Adam, actually Abel was the first to die. So everybody since Abel died and went to hell, into Sheol, and they were waiting there for the Messiah to take them out by the hand. You can read about that in the Gospel of Nicodemus, also known as the Acts of Pilate. Okay, then we get to 1036. Chapter 10, verse 36. Say you of him whom the Father has sanctified and sent into the world, you are a blasphemer because I said, I am the Son of God. That's a very good point. They're accusing him of blasphemy, but he says, the Father has sanctified me and sent me into the world, and you accuse me of blasphemy because I say I am the Son of God. 11 verse 4. When Jesus heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, the Son of God might be glorified thereby. 11:27. She said unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. 19 verse 7. Now there actually might be a few more verses, because I think these are the only verses that I wrote down where they use the word huios with the H. But there might be more without the H. So it was 19 verse 7. The Jews answered him, we have a law and by our law he should die because he made himself the Son of God. He didn't make himself the Son of God. God made him the Son of God. 20:31. But these are written that you might believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you might have life through his name. So this is most likely only a partial list of all the verses in the New Testament where Jesus himself refers to himself as the Son of God, or somebody else refers to him as the Son of God, or something to that effect. So keep this in mind. Jesus is the Son of God. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. He is the Son of God. And we must obey the Son of God because this is the King that God has ordained. Jesus and his Father are the King. Jesus is co-regent with his Father. And we will be co-regent with Jesus. That's what this is all about. The Bible is true. It's historically accurate. It's the only history book from antiquity to survive. It is the only history book that has not been destroyed by book burnings, genocides, re-education, language changing. Like Hebrew, the fact that the Hebrew language is still around, the fact that the Hebrew religion is still around, the fact that all these things have survived is proof of the hand of God, because we don't know much about all these empires that collapsed. I mean, we know a little bit about them, but we don't have what we have with the Bible. That's all gone. The Babylonian archives, you're going to have to piece it together with what survived. But it's not like the Bible. It's not a continuous line going back 4,000 years. 6,000 years if you want to trace it back to Adam. So, Jesus is the Son of God. Keep the law of Moses. Christ is King. Not much more to say.